How is everybody doing tonight? Pretty good here. Just setting up. We'll be starting in about a minute. Get the chat brought up. Alright, get my first chat of the night. There's Renee. Hey Renee, thanks for joining us once again. Good evening. Okay, everything's looking good. I think it is. All right, I got a few seconds left. I'm going to share this to the group page. The ChillerNight Facebook group page. Let's see how that goes. All right. And it looks like we are about ready to begin. Yes, it is 8 o'clock. It is time. Hey everybody, this is Brian Hogue. Welcome to ChillerNight Live, where every Tuesday, so far it's been, we used to do this on Saturday nights, now we switched it to Tuesday nights, and I'll get a little bit more into that later, I suppose, if you need me to. But welcome from 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time until 9 o'clock. We'll sit here and we'll do a little chiller chatting about all things horror and sci-fi and all that good stuff. And then, of course, we will be discussing the upcoming Chiller Night Theater programming schedule, which will play this Saturday night on Stream TV. Renee says, horror, sci-fi. Hey, that's our niche. Joe DQ says, good evening. Hey, Joe DQ. Renee says, Brian, did you stay up on Bob Wilkins? Did I ever? He and John Stanley from Creature Features. In fact, I have their IMDb page. I read over it. I did my assignment. A hosted horror movie show with Bob Wilkins from 1971 and through January of 1979, and then John Stanley took over in 79 until September of 1984 on KTVU Channel 2, Oakland, San Francisco, California. Interestingly enough, in 1984, that's when Chiller Theater last aired, as far as a regular weekly show. On January 1st, it was December. It was New Year's Eve, December 31st into January 1st, 1984. So yes, Autumn says good evening. Hey Autumn, thanks for joining us. Bonehead says hello, Chiller Night crew and Brian. Hello Bonehead, thanks for joining us. Renee says I smashed the thumbs up button. Thank you. All right. That's what I like to hear. Lasercorn says, peeps. Hey, Lasercorn. Sorry I couldn't get with you there this weekend. That would have been pretty cool. I was a little more north of where you were going to be. Sam says, good evening. Hey, Sam. I said, Sean and Neil. Renee says, rockin' intro. Glad you liked it. Stephanie says, hey, y'all, what did I miss? We're just getting started, Stephanie. We're right out the gate and glad you could join us. Let's see. Let's bypass some of the salutations to each other here. I'm glad everybody could join us tonight. John says, it's Tuesday night and it's time again for our show. Welcome to Chiller Night. This is Crozak the Grand, and here's the reason for this here's Brian Hogue. All right. Well, thank you, Crozak the Grand. Much appreciated. Al says, hi, everyone. Hey, Brian. Hey, Al. How's it going tonight? Renee said, escape room commercial was totally awesome. Thank you. And for those who didn't get to see it, the revised version of it, that it was funny because, you know, Tom and I were chatting back and forth on the phone about some things, and or was that the other day? And then, oh, no, Saturday before I left the house to go to the escape room, I was trying to put this together, and he was sending me, he was sending me the sound waves, and I was adding it in and trying to get it done and load it up and out there before I left to go to the escape room. So, and we got it done. So, Tom was. I was going to play that a little bit later in the show here. It turned out pretty cool. I like it. Tom said, and you tell me, and I'll bring this up again because I want you to hear. It sounds kind of like a Rod Serling type of voice. So I think that sounds pretty cool. Renee says, Brian, were into DC and Marvel Comics back in the 70s. Were you into DC and Marvel Comics back in the 70s and 80s? I was. Yes, I was. I definitely was. I think that was probably some of the best time to be involved in it. Well, the 60s, of course. I mean, I was too young to read the comics back in the 60s. I was a little later on in the 60s toward the tail end. But yeah, 70s and 80s, that was such a great time to read those comics. That in fact, when I was a kid, that's all I get. Well, cowboys and Indians and an army and superheroes. I mean, speaking of cowboys and Indians, today is the you all know I'm a Lone Ranger fan. Now this is John Hart, who stood in for Clayton Moore. Of course, Clayton Moore is the most notable actor to play the Lone Ranger, but John Hart did a fine job standing in for him for a season while Clayton was out. And 90-year anniversary. The Lone Ranger first broadcast radio show was on January 31st, 1933, out of WXYZ in Detroit, Michigan. So y'all know I'm a Lone Ranger fan, so I had to mention this. I just had to. So I know it's not Chiller related, but I'm going to do it anyways. Let's see. Bonehead says, well, I remembered to be here on Tuesday night for 3 weeks straight. You're doing pretty good, Bonehead. I may finally have this day like I used to on Saturdays. I just hope we don't change this again. I'm not planning on it. I'm not planning on it. That's why I checked with everybody, like, what night do you want? You know, Saturday was, you know, not going to work for me anymore, at least for now. For a while. So, no, it shouldn't be. Richard says, is that a Boba Fett model? It sure is. Little display. I didn't put it together like in a model. It was purchased this way. Somebody gave me that back in the 90s. So, just always liked Boba Fett. Glad to see he got out of that pesky Sarlacc, by golly. Joe DeQ says, Brian, did you like the Warren comics, Vampirella, Eerie Zines? No, I never got into those when I was a kid. I mean, I like the EC comics. I did have some of those. So I mean, I did like the EC comics back, like Tales of the Crypt, stuff like that. Richard says, Kiss dolls. I had those. I didn't have all 4 of them. My cousin did, because we were big Kiss fans growing up. Which ones did I have? I think I had Ace. That might have been the only one I had. It was Ace Frehley. Laura says, imagination. Good thing to have, especially here. Tom says, good evening. Hey, Tom. I was just talking about, the bonus says, Mr. Paisley. Richard Cook says, I had Lone Ranger figures. Do you know, Richard, I have the original, or, the figures from 1972, 73, something like that. The figures that came out, I had just recently purchased them because I had this wave of nostalgia, and I was scrolling online, and I was wanting for a couple years to purchase these, but I never found quite the set that I really wanted. Well, I had found a set, the Lone Ranger, Tonto. They had their, all the accessories, the guns, everything. Plus. Now I had these guys when I was a kid. Some of the earliest toys I can remember having is Lone Ranger and Tonto. I didn't have the horses, but this time, this time I actually got, with this collection, Silver and Scout, along with the Lone Ranger and Tonto. So at some point, I'll have to put them up in a nice display, take a picture, and put them up here. So I just really, really wanted to have those displayed in my office. So Laura says, I'm from Detroit. Oh, is that right? Wow, let's see, I haven't been to Detroit since 2005, I believe I was in Detroit. So, yeah, it's been a while. But yeah, that's where WXYZ, I guess. That was the first broadcast radio show. Now, what they did was, it was like a more of a promo type of thing that I believe that announced the Lone Ranger, and the actual the official radio first episode was like in the first 1 or 2 days in February, if I remember the story right. So, Bonus says, I got my pencil out and I'm pecking away. All right. Good luck. Don't you poke your eye out. I guess I can't say that to a skull, to an empty skull. Too late, huh? Let's see. Did anyone here have the magazine The Monster Times? Al says, no, I didn't. I didn't have that. Is that one of those old old ones? Let's see. Renee says, Heavy Metal Magazine. Yeah, I remember that. Heavy Metal the movie. I remember that. Heavy Metal 2000 movie, and Heavy Metal, and Metal Hurlant Chronicles Sci-Fi Channel. Now, I haven't seen that one. That last one, yeah, I'm lost on that one. Bonin says, now that I live down here, Tom, it's pronounced Texas. I hope I did that right. I hope I did that justice. Joe DQ. Oh my God, Renee, loved Heavy Metal. Bonin says, I think that ought to be my new alias. Or alias? Alias. Is a little draw on that. Okay, folks. Oh, the schedule. What the heck are we doing? That's right. Oh, we have ChillerNight Theater coming up Saturday night on Stream TV. Let me put up the schedule. This is Saturday's schedule on February 4th at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. The movie is The Devil Bat. And that was one of the live episodes that we did back in, I think back in March of 2020. I think that was one of the Monster March episodes that was done as the pandemic was creeping into our lives that month, pretty noticeably, as they was the initiating of the lockdowns and all that. That's how I remember that month. At 10:30 p.m., Attack of the Giant Leeches. I enjoy that movie. I like that one. And then at midnight, the movie is Snow Beast. And then at 1:40 in the morning, Samson versus the Vampire Woman. So there you go. There is the schedule. And if you're new on here and you're wondering how to watch that, just go to, on Saturday night, it's got to be Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, streammedia.tv, and there you can click on the option to watch live, and that's how you can watch ChillerNight Theater. All right, let's see. Trying not to miss anybody. Speaking of, Lasercorn says, speaking of action figures, anyone remember the Mego action figures? Do I had a bunch of those. I had the Hulk and Spider-Man when I was a kid. I had the superheroes. I had all the Star Trek ones. I had the Planet of the Apes. So, oh, I used to love those things. But it says, hey, Brian, what's new on the escape room front? The escape room. Well, I'll just use that as a segue to selfishly promote my... Here we go. There's another thing. If you don't know about my escape room, come on out and visit the zombie outbreak. That's the first one. Now we are actually, I've started on the second one, but the construction, the actual physical construction, will begin this week, probably either Friday or Saturday, for sure on Saturday. So that begins this week, if not this weekend, the actual construction part. But I don't want to give anything away for the second one just yet. But the first one is Zombie Outbreak. Now, speaking of Zombie Outbreak, oh, and things are going well. Thank you. I appreciate you asking. I'm going to play this zombie ad, the Zombie Outbreak ad. That I was telling you earlier that Tom had modified the voice. Remember I was talking about that. I need to modify the voice. And so that's what happened. Now I'm going to play it, and here we go.
ChillerNight Escape Experience presents Zombie Outbreak Escape Room. You and your team of scientists are sent to inspect a top-secret laboratory in a hidden military bunker. Sinister experiments have resulted in reanimating the dead. The facility is now swarming with the living dead, and you have 1 hour to escape or be overrun by zombies. Can you survive a zombie outbreak? Book your escape room appointment to find out. Book online at ChillerNight.com or call 814-209-8214. Gift certificates available at the store counter.
Pretty cool, huh? Yeah, like Tom said, I didn't quite place it, but after he said something about it, kind of has that Rod Serling sound. Yeah, I'd have to agree. I like it. And I hope you do too. So if you live in the area, I would really like to see. You don't have to go through it. Just come on up and visit me at the ChillerNight Escape Experience. Let's see. That's what the store. That's the front of my store. So come on out to the Cranberry Mall in Venango County. It's not in Allegheny County. It's not the one in like by Wexford. You know that Cranberry. It's actually there's two Cranberries. Now listen to this. Listen to this. I live in Butler County. South of me is Allegheny County, where Pittsburgh's at. A lot of you, I'm sure, heard of Pittsburgh. It's a little city. And then north of me is Venango County. So north and south of me, the counties north and south each have a Cranberry Mall. So that confuses a lot of people, because when I used to have my haunted house at the Cranberry Mall, I used to get a lot of people calling from Pittsburgh thinking that it was that Cranberry. So, but if you do happen to live up around Erie or Oil City, Franklin, come on in. Hope to see you. Let's see. Bunny says, I'm thinking you've got a new announcement. Do I? About the, about, if you're referring to the one I posted last night, I sure do. I'll bring that up in just about a minute. I'll try to catch up with some of these. Stephanie says, I've seen these movies on MS Mystery Science Theater 3000 and Elvira. Yeah. Oh, they're good. They're good chillers. Tom says, me too, even though they're still making it, it ain't the same. What's that? Mystery Science Theater 3000? Let's see. Bonus says, we were poor. We had potatoes that we imagined were action figures. Oh, you could carve them. I guess. I think you can carve a potato. You can peel it. Until Mama made mashed taters, that is. Ah, there went all your toys. Joe DQ says, Zombie Outbreak sounds so cool. Ah, thank you. Bonnet says, hello, Miss Renee. Hope work is going good. Um, Lasercorn says that sounds like a CIA training manual, Brian. Yes, yes. So that's kind of scary too, isn't it? Um, Joe says, I so want to go. Well, come on out. Um, Al says, Brian, do you have live actors in the zombie rooms? I do not. No. That's something that you will see zombies, and you'll see them, and they'll be um, trying to get in, but they're not in this. They're not in the room with you, and the scenario is if you don't get out, they get in. So you have 1 hour. Tom says it's not so much modified as completely computer generated. Oh yeah, yeah, it's like one of these computer generated voices he did. Bonin says, "Sorry, I got ahead of you, Brian." Oh no, 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 that's all right. That's on my list. That's on my list here. Renee says Elvira is fine. Yeah, she's all right, huh? Brad says it's a Chiller Night show with Brian Hogue, starring Brian Hogue. Now here's Brian. What's on Saturday on Stream TV? Well, Devil Bat, Attack of the Giant Leeches, Snow Beast, and Samson versus the Vampire Woman. That's the lineup, and then of course we'll be going over there. I just had that up a couple minutes ago, but that's the lineup right there, and then we'll be putting it up a couple more times. So, but thanks for joining us tonight, Brad. Hope all is well. Joe says I'm just here for the atmosphere. Well, you found a good place to be. Lasercorn says we should all plan on getting to Brian's escape room this Halloween. Yeah, yeah. Let's see. Lasercorn says Elvira is fine, but Ivana Cadaver is to die for. Renee swoon. Brad says, "What T-shirt is that you're wearing, Brad?" This was one of my older haunted houses. Last time I was, we actually did away with this one back at the end of 2014. Was the last Dark Domain. So, and then I moved out of the area. But ironically enough, I'm doing the haunt. I'm taking the haunt back. Not this one, not the Dark Domain. The next one. I guess I'll put this up here. Sure, why not? Will be the official name. The official name is Jack Shadow's House of Terror. And if you saw my post from yesterday, I kind of go into why I named it that. Back in 2006, when I started my original haunt, when I opened it up, it was called the House of Terror. And I explained it kind of had that old-fashioned Chamber of Horrors name, sound to it, and I kind of like that. I kind of like that because I'm a big fan of the old monster movies, the old Chillers, okay, obviously, and the old EC comics and stuff like that. So to me, it just had that old sound and feel to it. So, and that was the year 2006 when I opened up the House of Terror. That I also introduced Jack Shadow as a character. He didn't start as a horror host until a few years later. So, but that is it, and that will also be in my store at the Cranberry Mall. So I'll be having 3 escape rooms, and then I'll be having the haunted house. So I'm gonna be going all year long. It'll be a year-round store. So the escape rooms and the haunted house. Pretty good sized store to be able to fit all this stuff in there. Let's see. Laser says, I don't know she's Ive anymore, sadly. What? Alive? Ive? Hey, speaking of, I don't know if that's what you meant to say, but that jogged my memory here on actress who played Wednesday Addams. I'm sure you've all. I know Tom posted it in the group, the ChillerNight group page. But Lisa Loring died. It says January 28th, so just the other day, and she was 64 years old. So it's unfortunate. But the actress who played Wednesday Addams, on the original Addams Family show. Passed away just recently. So that's too bad. Trying to make sure I didn't miss anything. Laser Quinn says, that being said, do your homework. You're on your own, bonehead. Uh-oh, what'd you do? Joe says, I'll have to get more information on zombie outbreak dates. Definitely sounds like a road trip. Charlton, West Virginia to PA. Wow, yeah, that would be a road trip, all right. Or maybe, yeah, you could do that. Now, I mean, if you'd want to come all that way for an hour to go through it, that's a long way to go. But if you come in October, you could hit the escape rooms, and then later in the evening, the haunted house. Just trying to, get more out of your day. But yeah, that'd be cool. Bonin said, Laser, I still remember Terminal Stare from Chiller Theater. Oh, she got me going. Terminal Stare, yeah. Yeah, I remember her. Definitely. Brett says, good evening, Brian. Hey, Brett, how's it going? How's it going at the Cranberry Mall tonight? So, I'll be there tomorrow night. I'll be bringing in some lumber. Getting ready to do some construction. Lasercorn says, I would be remiss if I didn't mention Vampira. Yeah, Vampira. I believe, I guess I can take this logo down. Vampira, they say. I've watched, I did hear about Bob Wilkins and John Stanley, Renee. You were asking me about that for the last couple of weeks. I didn't remember those names, but as I started looking into about creature features, I remember watching a documentary on horror hosts, and I do recall those guys being brought up, as well as Vampira. That reminded me that I believe Vampira was the first horror host, television horror host, in could have been 1954 if I'm remembering this right. Or she's credited as being the first horror host on TV, at least. But those were starting to really pop up, not just on TV, but like in the comics and the pulp magazines and stuff like that. You were having that type of the narrator, and then they had these packages of the movies, Shock Theater or whatnot. They were sending out to different TV channels, and they were playing this group of horror movies. I'm not probably expressing this word for word, but the gist of it is the TV stations started to come up with their own host, to kind of make the scary movies a little bit more fun, and they'd little skits, and they would say a little bit about the movie, kind of like what we do. So Bonus says, I got to meet her. Donna Ray Delinsky is her real name, and she was so unbelievably nice and absolutely gorgeous. I wish I could have contacted her. I just didn't know how. I mean, you'd think that in this day and age it would be so easy to figure, because I've been able to contact a lot of people during all the years that I've done this stuff, but she is one that I've never been able to find any contact information on. I would have loved to have talked to her. But at least I had Chilly Billy himself, Bill Cardell, host of Chiller Theater, on my show. And not just on my show, but I actually got to know him for a while before he had passed away, probably about a year and a half or so. We talked quite a bit, so that was nice. That was really nice and kind of surreal, to be honest with you, to be able to talk with such an icon as Chilly Billy Cardell. And I don't know, it was really, really pretty cool. And he was a great guy. Brad says, I wish they let go some B-rated movies to the public domain, especially the really bad B-rated movies. I agree with you. I think, or at least have some way that you can even purchase a license to play those. And if you think, well, that's probably in existence, if so, I would love to know where. I don't know. I don't need to be playing them on YouTube. I don't need to be playing them on YouTube. I could just do a one and done type of thing, through the TV station, and I would be happy with that. Doesn't need to be recorded. Doesn't it? Just a live presentation, and that's it. How do you do that? How do you do that unless the TV station itself has the license to play those movies? Um, let's see. Bona says she worked out a lot and had her own gym. A real class act. Oh, is that right? Well, that's cool. Um, that would be Tom Servo, Renee. What? Oh, one of the robots' voices changed on Mystery Science Theater 3000. Joe DQ says, caught a newer host on a few times, Misty Brew. Misty Brew. Not sure. Oh, Laser Corn says, I had to look up Misty Brew, Joe DQ, from Cape Girardeau. I don't know. Apparently, there is an alien that crashed and was buried there around the 1900s. Not making that up. Interesting. Bonin says, Chili Billy was a Pittsburgh legend. R.I.P. Bill Cardell. Yes, he was. Definitely. Joe says, Brian, I wish you could do a new ChillerNight theater. Well, I'm back and forth with that idea in my head because I always wanted ChillerNight Theater to be associated with Jack Shadow. And then I got to thinking, now that we're doing the Tuesday thing, like, I don't know, if there was kind of a maybe even a passing of the torch to make me, the official host. I can't do it with Jack Shadow. I just simply can't. That's why he retired. That's why he retired as the host. If you would want to see the shows like with me doing them, when I was doing them like with the tuxedo, my mentor, Bill Chili Billy Cardell. That's what he wore. He wouldn't, no mask, no makeup. If that's something that interests you, I could bring that back because with those shows I was doing, there was little and sometimes no preparation. Sometimes writing little notes down as I was watching it with you, because it was just kind of what we're doing here. It was for the most part unscripted. I did take a few notes here and there, um, but those are manageable. I could do those. And we could do them like maybe the first Tuesday of the month. We could have a live ChillerNight Theater. I just can't do the Jack Shadow. I can't keep up with that. That's a production. That's a production. It really is. There's a lot to me, and I've gone over this before. I don't want to kind of, keep kicking that point down the road, but if it's just something like, if you wanted, like we were doing before, and just kind of having, new episodes and just kind of a movie night, almost like a watch party, we can do that. I'm not necessarily opposed to that. I kind of was, but now I'm thinking, okay, as long as it's understood, I'm not just filling in now. I would be hosting the show, and Jack Shadow could periodically come in as maybe on a Halloween special or something like that, which basically is what happened in 2022. He only showed up a couple times. I mean, it wasn't because I was so busy. I just can't keep up with it all. You see what I'm trying to do. But if that's something that you are okay with, you let me know. The first Tuesday of February is the 7th. I mean, we could try for something like that if that's something that you want to do. But I kind of wanted you guys to tell me rather than me initiate it. Bonus says, Brian, I don't know if nowadays anyone would ever be able to do a show like Chiller Theater. The copyright laws and red tape is so unbelievable. I don't see how you could do it. Yeah, it is kind of tough because some of the movies that you're under the understanding it's a public domain. We've had it done where we're in the middle of a live show and you know they pull the plug. So laser go, and I'm not now that I don't my page is not monetized, so as long as they don't take my page away, which I guess could eventually happen, but. Brad says, "Does Stream TV have horror films that are license approved?" No, I don't. I don't believe that they don't have something like that. That would be cool. That'd be cool, but no. Ladies Corn says, "Speaking of ladies of the night, I can't but help notice that Glam Fangs and Diana Silvio have been absent as of late." Well, Glam, I believe Tom had mentioned that. There he does say that. Glam can't do Tuesdays apparently. Yeah, I think it was brought up that it had something to do with her work schedule, unfortunately. So, that's too bad because on Saturdays, my other work, my secondary work schedule was prohibiting me from doing the Saturday night thing. So, here's what could happen. I mean, eventually after everything's constructed and I got some help down the road, I don't want help right now as far as like hiring anybody because I'm too new. I've got, I really couldn't, you know, utilize somebody else right now, as I'm just still beginning this business. So, uh, Tuesdays is going to have to be the night for a while. Doesn't mean it can't ever go back to a Saturday night thing, but right now I was missing too many shows, and I thought, well, I either have to move it to another night, or I keep missing weeks, and I didn't want to keep missing weeks, so I wanted to keep this alive. I wanted to keep doing this, and keep relevant. So. Bonin says, I looked into trying to do that, and I've gotten to where with copyright laws you can do that. Disclaimer for educational purposes. The guys from Newcastle After Dark helped with that. Remember I told you to ask them, Brian? I do remember that now that you bring it up. I've had a unfortunately, I know it sounds like I'm like 90 years old and just keep forgetting it. That's not really the case because I think I've got too much on my plate, and some of that stuff it tends to slide off, unfortunately. But let me write that down. Newcastle After Dark. Again, what I did with Renee. It took a few times, but when I put pen to paper. That's when things get done. That's when things get dealt with. By golly. Newcastle After Dark. All right. They have a disclaimer for educational purposes. All right. I'll take the extra few seconds here. All right. I'll give that a look-see here. PBR Street Gang says, hey, PBR Street Gang, thanks for joining us. Brad says, you're also probably busy building the Haunted House of Cranberry. That construction actually will begin in April. I have 8 weeks to not only construct, decorate, and have a second fully functionable escape room, But after this second one is done, but that's the only reason I'm not starting right in on that haunt, is because um, I want to get that at least a second escape room up and running, and then I'm modifying Zombie Outbreak also. So if you've been through it before, there would be some different things in there, and some pretty cool things. So um, and then I'll start in April 1st maybe. Um, that's if the Cranberry Mall is still going to be there. Oh, hey, let me put this. I'm sure the building will still be there, but I don't know what the future of that mall is. Is going to be 9 o'clock on this Saturday night. Let me put the schedule back up here, and then we'll put it up again before the end of the show here on February 4th at 9 o'clock Eastern Time. The Devil Bat. Then at 10:30, Attack of the Giant Leeches. And then at midnight, Snow Beast. And at 1:40 in the morning, Samson versus the Vampire Women. And again, you can get there by watching or going to streammedia.tv and selecting Watch Live at the top of the page. I'll give you an option to do that. Bonus says, "That's okay, Brian. I looked into it for you." Oh, did you? What was the verdict on that? Let's see. Bonus says, "Maybe one day the old gang from Saturdays will get back together somehow. I'm just glad we still get to do this." Well, yeah, me too. I just didn't want this to kind of go off on the wayside, and because, like I said, nothing's to say it can't go back. I know Saturday's going to be kind of weird for me though, unless I get somebody else to really mind the store. But where I see this going with my store is Friday and Saturday nights are going to be a lot more busy, especially after, and I won't say exactly why just yet, but especially after October. So at least I hope it is. That's my hope. That's my goal, is to make that place pretty busy, a pretty happening place on the weekend nights, on the weekends in general. Let's see. Bonus says, "What you do with the info I give you is up to you. Remember, I'm just an empty-headed skull." We can all feel like an empty-headed skull every once in a while, Bonehead. So, but thank you. I appreciate you looking into that. Let's see. Tom says, "I don't know, Brian. They cut your feed for movies that are solidly in the realm of public domain. Not sure a disclaimer will make much difference to an algorithm." See, that's what I'm wondering, is like how, and unless we're talking about streaming live onto Stream TV or something like that. But yeah, I don't know how that would work with. I mean, are those guys putting it on YouTube and getting away with it? Or is it only after they've reviewed it? Because if I'm doing something live, and even if I have that disclaimer, I'll be honest, I have thought about that. It's like, is that going to make a difference for a live stream? So I don't know. They get you. Bonus says, "I got my new photo for my channel ID. My son took a photo of me, but unfortunately I was being used as a hat rack, and all you saw was a Pittsburgh Penguins ball cap, so we did a new one." Okay. Bonehead. Tom says, "Bonehead is a reformed Canuck." Bonehead says, "Laser, I was born in Pittsburgh. I grew up in Windsor, Ontario, Canada." Cool. Brad says, "You should ask for some support sponsors from the other places in and around the Cranberry Mall." For the haunt, yeah, I usually always get sponsors. It's a little weird with me going back into that to that location again, and Plus, I have to show too that I can get the I think that I can get the people out there. Uh, because before we were able to get quite a bit of people. Now the escape room, I'm actually getting more business than I thought I was going to get uh, at the location. Because I don't know how the malls are where you're at, but you know, a lot of the malls are not really booming. You know, exactly booming you know, in this day and age. So, but I've been doing pretty well. I have my slow points here and there, but I was very happy with how things are going. Let's see. Brad says for the chiller gift shop and all that. Yes, I'm definitely going to have that. I certainly have the room. Bonus says yes, they're putting it up on YouTube. Interesting. So you know somehow that disclaimer is bypassing their algorithms, showing that this is a copyrighted movie. That's something. I wonder how they get away with that. Tom says, but they've shut down your live streams before. Yeah, yeah. Bonus says, do you remember Ghost Host on WPTT back in the day? Lasercorn Ness. I know David had brought that up. David and Diana and David had brought that up before. I don't remember. I don't think I remember Ghost Host. Bonus says, you got to check up on that, Brian. I don't know exactly what your channel and content entail. I was just asking for a general question. Yeah, I don't know. Brian says, hello everyone. Hey Brian, thanks for joining us. Renee says, I got the 2 goth sidekick chicks on Sinister Minister. Alright. Joe DeQ says, this tells my age. Does anyone remember Seymour Presents? Called like I see 'em was his catchphrase. Seymour Presents. I don't know. not that I can remember. Let's see. Renee says, I love the 3 bikini chicks on Creepy Coffee Movie Time. I don't remember that show. Brad says, how did they get away with that from the Newcastle? Yeah, I don't know. Lasercorn says, ever see American Mary, Renee? Well, when like Bonus says, I have to check up on that, and I will eventually, if I can get the time to do that. Right now, you know, for me to just, I don't, I don't know when I've got time to do this stuff, which was my ongoing problem all this time. I mean, sure, with the right, proper, strict, laser-focused time management skills, I'm sure I could. But I also got things to do outside of all of this. I wish I just had like an assistant, you know, who could look into this stuff for me. I don't know. It's not. Doesn't get any easier. Bonus is chicks on bathing suits. Whoa, I gotta check them out. Laser Corn says, Okie, look them up when you have a chance, Bonehead. All right. Let's see here. What else do we have? No, I think that's it for our news. You know, I was just looking over my thing here for Wednesday Addams. Lisa Loring died, and that reminded me. Did you guys see yesterday? I know this. Cindy Williams. You ever watch Happy Days? She appeared on Happy Days a few times. American Graffiti, directed by George Lucas, starring Ron Howard and Cindy Williams, and of course, Laverne and Shirley. She played Shirley, so she had passed away just didn't write that one down. I'm just remembering it. Was it yesterday? Maybe it was yesterday or the day before. So oh, that just reminded me. I was thinking the Addams Family, an older show. Laverne and Shirley, an older show. Jody Q says, Brian, did you get a chance to check out Alienator? No, I didn't. Unfortunately, I did not. That one I didn't check that out. I would be cool if I could play Alienator. I'd play that one. I would bombard you guys with 80s horror movies if I could. I mean, all in proper balance, of course. Um, I would certainly want to play um, the old black and white chillers, the old stuff that we're used to. But I would love to throw in some 80s stuff. Renee says, yeah, Bonehead, they also had burlesque strippers and rock bands on the show too, besides the horror movie. What? What the heck was that? Huh. Well, that's one way to get an audience, huh? Um, Joe DeQ says 80s horror and 50s B movies. Heck yeah. That would be awesome. I would love it if that's what I could play for ChillerNight Theater. That would be fantastic. Brad says you're probably going to look up on Newcastle After Dark and wondering how did they do that? What did they do right? Yeah. If I get a chance to, I will. It's a weird thing, and like Tuesday nights, I take off. I just take off so I can do this. Plus, I have physical therapy. I'm still going. I'm still going through physical therapy, so I've just blocked Tuesday nights off for sure, though. So I cannot. Nobody can book the escape room. So, but normally it is getting up early in the day and early in the morning and work my full day, and then after that, I'm normally rushing off to do this stuff, or like like tomorrow I'll be going and getting the lumber and transporting it. It says Newcastle After Dark. I'll actually be going to Newcastle in Pennsylvania to pick up the lumber that I need, and then transporting back up to Venango County to the Cranberry Mall. I just, I don't know, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that for now, because I know eventually, after everything is all constructed, everything's up and constructed, I'll be able to kind of break free from that, and I can focus more on this stuff here. Laser Corn said, and anything from Dario Argento and Allegeno, that's okay. I can't. I'm gonna hurt myself trying to pronounce that. Is absolute gold. All right, I'll take your word for that. Bonus says, "Oh boy, my little skull is bouncing around now, Renee. I gotta check them out." Renee says, and they drink watermelon beer on the show. Watermelon beer? I've never heard of that. I wonder if that's any good. Jody Key says, Asia Argento. Cool. Bonus says, Brian, just keep doing what you're doing. We're all thankful for that. Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you. We'll get to all that stuff. I wish I could just say, you know what, I'm gonna do that this week, and that be it. There's still things like I feel bad sometimes because like I don't get to it. And like I said, do I literally have a minute to do something like that? Yeah, I do. But like I said, the plates that are spinning in the air are already like I just get too many. But right now I'm happy with what I got right now because it's manageable. It's manageable to a point. As long as I keep a certain schedule, keep a certain routine in my head, keep a certain schedule locked in there, I can keep up with things. But if I keep throwing a little bit too more, here and there, then that's when it gets overwhelming, and I do get forgetful with certain things because of that. And it's never my intention to forget these things, but it doesn't always work out too well. Renee says, "Too bad KO or Coffee TV turned into a country and western." is that where the you're talking about the burlesque and the bikini clad women and all that? Now it's a country and western channel. If that's the one you're talking about, that's kind of funny though. Joe DeQ says, "Daughter of Dario." Shortisha. Wow. Well, welcome. That's the first time I've seen that name. I love 60s, 70s, and 80s horror and B movie flicks. Ah, so do I. I love all that stuff, and even the with the classics, I love that stuff too. If I could play them, the stuff going back to the 30s, like 1931 and so forth, with Dracula, Frankenstein, all that stuff in the 50s with the Creature from the Black Lagoon and all that. I just love that stuff. But the 80s has that a little place in my heart because that's when I was a teenager growing up, and it just, man, what a just a big dumb fun time going to the theater seeing the slasher movies like Jason and Freddy and Michael. It was so fun. Bonnie says, "Yeah, Renee, I can make a dirty joke about." But I'll be nice and let that go. All right. I should have read that one. I didn't do it. He says. Sure, she's hello. SBC says, "Hello, I'm here. Hey, yeah, you caught us on the tail end, but I appreciate you showing up and nice to see you here." Bonus says, "Hello, there you are, SBC." Yes, SBC made it. Brad says, "We still love you, Brian." Oh, thank you. And ChillerNight programming. I love Dark Horse Championship Wrestling too. LOL. Ah, me too. If I did have all this stuff going on, I would love, because that was fun for me. And if you don't know, if those watching don't know, if you're just new on here, I had a wrestling organization. I still have it. I just haven't done anything with it for the last 7 years. Something like that. But it was called Dark Horse Championship Wrestling. It actually aired. It was like a studio wrestling type of show. And it aired in Erie, Pennsylvania, out of the WICU. That's it. I didn't know that didn't sound right. WICU every week on Sundays. So I had that, and that was just that was so much fun. I so much enjoyed that. I was the I was the owner. There was a yeah, I don't have enough time to get into that one, but that was a lot of fun. And if I could ever do that again, maybe once I get this store up and running, maybe there would be another big store I could get out there and put Dark Horse Championship Wrestling. But I would love that because we didn't just do events; we had it televised. It was a TV show, so that was a lot of fun. I must say, while at the same time I was doing the Jack Shadow stuff for shows for Saturday night, and had a lot of stuff going on at that time. And haunted houses. I was doing haunted houses, and believe it or not, I was doing all that. I was working my regular job. I was teaching self-defense classes. I was doing so much. And I don't know how I did that, because it wasn't just like I had a day job. My schedule for my police job was constantly, every month, it was shifting every month. I worked nights, and then I worked daylights, and then I worked, 3 to 11. Every month we switched. And I never got used to that sleeping pattern being so disrupted like that. But again, on top of everything that I had going on, I still did all that crazy stuff. And I was having the time of my life. And wow, Ava has been super supportive of everything I do because she knows I just can't sit around not doing this stuff, you know. Bonus is the Polish Hammer. Ivan Putski, yes, Polish Hammer. Oh my gosh! Now everyone's throwing some wrestling, some names. The Bobby the Brain Heenan. Oh yeah, he was fantastic. Unfortunately, we don't have wrestling here in Germany. SBC says, oh, maybe I could get Dark Horse Championship Wrestling your way. It is 8:59. Bonus says, well, thank you, Chiller Night crew and Brian, for another wonderful Tuesday night. See you next week. And to quote the immortal Dave Allen, good night, thank you, and may your God go with you. Yes, I ought to get a little, the old glass of bourbon or whatever he was drinking, the cigarette, Yeah, I used to love watching Dave Allen. Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff. Yeah. Oh my gosh, all these. Joe Hughes. Renee, absolutely. To be the man, you gotta beat the man. Yep. Tom Paisley. We have it here in Alabama, SB, but it's called wrestling. Joe DQ says, good night, Brian and crew. All right, good night, everybody. It is 9 o'clock. Thank you for joining me and each other, and we'll see you next time. So have a good night. Have a good chiller night. See you next Tuesday.